I wanted to introduce the two parties that have really helped make the reception possible. And that's the town of Devon, and Stephen Lindup and Mark Hain had to leave already. We have extremely high regard for the town of Devon. Not just because of Stephen, but that entire community seems to be getting it. They have helped us bridge relationships into Indovan, Europe. They have helped bridge some of the emerging relationships with the Alberta government. They are keen on the future of zero construction or zero energy in their community. I'd like you to all, just for a moment, give me a little bit more applause for the town of Devon that's made the reception possible. So that's a credit to Stephen Dunlop and his council. But in addition, EDA, the Economic Developers of Alberta. If there's any body in Alberta that really ought to be embracing the relevance and the importance of diversification, it's the Economic Development Alliance, and that is the Economic Developers of Alberta, that reached out to us, and we graciously received the opportunity to build an alliance. So while we have alliances with several organizations, this one is particularly important to us. And I'm going to ask Leanne to say a few words just to introduce the alliance, the Economic Developers Association, to you. So thank you, Leanne. And I'm sorry for having passed you by.
That's okay.
Okay.
Now I'm right between me and the drinks. I get that. So thank you very much, Perry, for on behalf of Economic Developers of Alberta, I do want to congratulate you. I didn't realize this was your last hurrah. So I mean, I'm happy to be here. And happy to be an event partner. I trust everyone enjoyed the day and will go back to their organizations and communities with a renewed energy and ideas around how they can shape and influence economic recovery and diversification in their respective areas. One of the issues our organization has been working on over the past few years since the floods, it's really been economic recovery and resiliency. And this really started after the floods in southern Alberta and continued this year after Fort McMurray wildfires. Both of these natural disasters showed us, while many organizations know what to do in the initial response, very few know how to respond during the recovery phase. And this is the hard, challenging, extremely difficult phase. And in the case of Fort McMurray, essentially they're dealing with two disasters: an industrial disaster that happened before the fires with low oil prices, layoffs, and then a natural disaster with the wildfires. And then there's Vegreville. I don't know how many of you have been following this in the news, but the federal government announced to close the Immigration Refugee Processing Center. 200 jobs gone. This one decision has the potential to devastate a town of 6,000 people. It's a big hit. This week, Yellowhead County and Parkland County joined Brazeau County and Lac St. Anne by formally declaring a state of agricultural disaster due to excessive moisture. So as many of you know, every day in the news there are stories about a growing number of Alberta communities, businesses, and industries that are suffering. Quite frankly, it's becoming a little overwhelming. And that's why it has been nice to be here today, because there are some things we can be doing. Now more than ever, we all need some bold ideas, vision, and leadership. We need hope for a better future. I read a quote this week and I wanted to say it. Real leadership is about being bold enough to have vision and humble enough to recognize achieving it will take the efforts of many. I look forward to working with each of you in the months and years ahead as we continue to create the Alberta we all want together. It won't be easy, but I'm hopeful it can and will be better. Thank you, and I think the drinks are next, correct? Okay, thank you.